And finally, we have the Antisune set. So they're basically just going to be inverse mirrors of the SUNE set. Some algs are going to be totally different, but the majority of them are going to overlap. I don't really think I need to explain these if you've already watched the SUNE part. But yeah, there's no need. So I'll just get on with the video. So starting off the final set is pure Antisune. So this case here is just 3-corner twists. I know 2 algs for it. I'll show you both of them. So this one here is the alg I use for the case itself. So that's the main alg. Let me just set up the other one. So this one here is the optimal. So again, they're just mirrors of the alg from the SUNE sets. This one here with the H-perm. I'm just going to call this one anti-brune. So start from here and do this. So the Z-perm block. So it's the inverse of the other one, but the difference is where you start from. So I'll do a Y2, and I sort of think about it as almost starting the back SUNE. And then finish like that. I think what that is, it is a back SUNE and a cancel into one of the U-perms. And then the anti-Z block is this one here. Just like its mirror, it's just a bunch of sexies and inserts. So from here, sexy, back sexy, slot the front, and slot the back. The next case is this one here, solved and adjacent. Antisune, that's all it is from this angle. This one here, we got the solved bar and the opposite on the right. I want to hold it from here, and I'm going to feel like the first 4 moves are like hiding this as a setup into an Antisune. So hide it away, Antisune, and then you bring it back out. This case here is literally just a lefty SUNE, or if you want to rotate and do it from the back, it'll be a back SUNE. I'm just going to do lefty here because I am speed. This one here, where you got right solve bar here and adjacent on front. So for this one, I'm going to do a Y2. So I'm going to hide this bar here with this setup, do a back SUNE, and then I'll do with the U2 and put it back. This case here where you've got opposite on front, I'm going to want to hold it from here, and it's like starting a double SUNE from the back into the U-perm, and it goes like so. I'm awfully well prepared. Okay, here we are. So opposite on the right, adjacent on the front, and it goes like this. So from here, it's just a SUNE cancel into another U-perm. Triple R prime U prime, not the best. Where these two match, we'll do this alg from here. Start with a U-perm plus U2 for the back, and then you just do rinse and variation slot. And the last of this set is going to be this one here. So it's the worst of the bunch. And it goes like this. So from here, I'm going to be thinking about is sort of moving this imaginary block out of the way. The diag Antisune set. So pretty much every case except one uses a mirror or an inverse of an alg that I use in the SUNE set. Starting off with this case here, the tripod case. It uses the inverse alg, and it is executed from this angle, and it goes like this. I very much like that because after the R's and U's, my thumb ends up here, ready for the F. It's a good alg. So the next case is this one here with the H-bone block, and I use the inverse alg for the anti-Z block for the SUNE set, and I do it from this angle. The next case is the Z-bone block, and again I use the inverse alg for the one from the Z-bone block of the SUNE sets. I also do this from a Y2 away. The only difference is after the 4-move setup, you do an Antisune instead, and then you undo the setup. So this next case, on paper doesn't seem very nice, but I actually quite enjoy doing it. So it's the inverse of the Antisune with the, the diag-sune with the H-perm on it, and it's done from this angle. So after the sexy move, you kind of do another R prime U prime, and I feel like it follows, ready for this. And my grip does the U, ready for the double inverse X's. The next case here, we got bar in front and opposite on right. I just used the mirror alg for the case here. And this one here, I also use the mirror. I just do it from the back instead, or the front even, however you want to look at it. So do a Y2, and you do the first 8 moves, and then you do the sort of com in the middle. So this next case is the only one that sort of differs from everything else from the other set. So it does start similarly from a different angle, but it ends with a Nick Classy sort of thing. So bar, opposite, and you want to hold it from here. And it goes like this. And then the Nick Classy thing. And the last one with a block will be this one here. So I do use the mirror alg, but this time I could just do it from this angle. The next case here, I use the inverse alg for its mirror, and I'm going to want to do that from this angle. So it's going to start with a F double sexy. It cancels into the good C from the side, and done. Is this one here, where you got the opposite on front and adjacent on side. I use the inverse alg for the one that mirrors this. It does suck. This case does absolutely suck. And you're going to want to do it from this angle. and it goes, oh, wrong way. I'm not refilming that. It's just a bad alg. This case here, I use the mirror. So if these two are done, or solved even, not solved. If they match, I just do the mirror. Start with the left sexy. No. And lastly is this case here. So again, I use the mirror alg, and I do find it similar to the one which has bar and opposite. So okay, the anti-Nicholas set. So starting with this one is just anti-Nicholas. Moving swiftly on to this one here. So there's a couple ways you can do this. Either you can do the mirror from the back. I actually quite like doing the alg like this. So starting with GC, rotating and doing Windsor. There is other ways you could do that to make it RUD. That's just how I execute it. So this one here, I use the mirror, so I do the alg from the back. So do Y2. Just back soon cancelled into the RPerm. Now in this case here, I use the inverse alg. And I'll do it from this angle. This case here, where you've got bar and opposite, I do the inverse alg, so I do it from a Y2. So for this one, I do the mirror. I'll do it from this angle, and I think I'll do a rotation here. So set up, and then lefty moves, and then I could just finish off with FUF prime. So this one here, we got the bar here and the opposite here. I do the mirror alg, so I keep this in front, and it goes like this. That one I actually do the U2 and the D at the same time. And the last one with a block will be this one here and adjacent. So we're going to want to rotate to here and do the following alg. So the next case, not the most finger tricky alg in the world. It's just the inverse of another case from the Nicholas set, where these two would match. And it goes like this. Set up, and I'll do set up. This case here, I use the mirror alg, so opposite adjacent, where it's just a U perm cancelled into the Nicholas. It goes like this. this case here, I use the mirror, so my out goes like this. Setup wide Lexi ledge U2 R. And finally, I use for this one the mirror case, so lefty SUNE into lefty T perm. Right, so the anti-shitsunes. Starting with this one here, I just use the inverse of the other alg and I do it from this angle. I'm not going to show the optimal for this one. So this one here, similarly to how I mentioned in the SUNE step for this case, the mirror, the alg differs just by one move. So we rotate here. Now it's just a U prime instead. Very easy to learn those two. This case here, with the Z perm block, different alg entirely. Gonna rotate here. Front sexy, back sexy, slot the front and follow, followed by that finisher. Now the case with the anti-Z block, I just use the mirror, but do it from the back. So do a Y2. There. This case here, where you've got the solved bar and the opposite on the right, it goes like so. It's just a mirror alg. Oh, apologies, my bad. There. This case here, where you got the solved bar and the adjacent here, I just mirror it. So hold the cube here, and the next case here, the mirror inverse, I just do the mirror of this case. This time I don't have to do any rotations for it, because I can just do it from here. And finally, what I believe is everyone's main alg for this. We got the solved bar at adjacent. We hold it from here, and the easiest alg to set. The next case is just an inverse alg of one from the other set. So this one here, we got opposite in front and adjacent to the side. We're going to want to hold it here, and the alg goes like so. The next case, where we have opposite on the right and adjacent on front, we rotate here and we do the following alg. The next case here, we've got these two match. The alg goes like this. And finally, for this one here, where these two match instead, I just do the mirror alg. So I do it from here instead. So the next set, where the corner recognition is these two and these two, we'll go like so. So this alg here, the tripod case, is different from the mirror. So to do this one, you've got to rotate here, and it's an Antisune cancel into a J-perm. Antisune cancel into J. This case here, standard call for this. I just used a mirror of the other one. This one requires no rotation, and it goes like so. Oh. This one here, again, was the first one I learned for this because of how similar it is to the 2x2 alg. And again, no rotation, and it goes like this. The next case here, the Anti-Z, I use the mirror, but do it from the back. So I'm going to do a Y2, and it goes like so. And cancel into the back SUNE. The next case here, I don't use the mirror for, I use an inverse of another alg from the inverse set. And it goes like so. So you're going to want to rotate here, do a sexy, and then R2, UIU, and then when you bring this down, do that. You sort of finish off like that. It's a bit tricky to get into memory, but once you've got it, it can be fast. This case here, I just use the mirror, and I do it from the back. So we're going to do a Y2. This case here is the same as the H-perm block 1, just with wide R's. Here. And this case here. So for the mirror, there was two algs, one with the J-perm, one with the shorter easy alg. For this one, I'm only going to use the shorter easy alg. And I'll do it like this. The next case is going to be, oh, there we go, this one, where you got this opposite on front and adjacent to the right. So it's like an R-perm, just without the, instead of the U2s, it's just single moves, and it's done from this angle. There, and finish R-perm. Where you got the opposite on the right and adjacent on the front. So it's exactly the same as the case with the tripod, where you do from here and you start the same. Only difference is from here you do a wide R and undo. There. So for the next case I'm going to show is this one here. So for this one here, I'm going to start like this. and then instead of slotting, I'm just going to cancel it into a nick class. And then finally, this case here, where these do match instead, it's a strange feeling alg. That awful alg from the mirror set is just a mirror of that, but from the front is nicer. And it goes like so. And at last, the final 12 algs is this set of Antisune cases. So starting off with this one here, the tripod. So this one, I'm just going to use the inverse alg for the inverse case. So from this angle, it goes like this. For the case with the H block, you're going to want to start from a Y2 away. Antisune, cancel into 3/4. ZBLL. Just going to use the mirror. So R, leg C, undo, and slot. And the anti-ZBLL for this, alg goes like so. This case here with the bar on the right and opposite on front. It's just a back SUNE cancelled into a L-perm. I think it's, yeah, L-perm. So from this angle, do the back SUNE, and then the L-perm. Or JA, lefty J, whatever you want to call it. This case here, where bar on right and adjacent on front. Gonna want to hold it from here. Do that. Nice and easy alg. Now, this case here, it's the same as the anti-Z, just with wide R's in it. This case here with the solid bar on front and adjacent on the side, we're going to want to hold it from this angle and do this alg. This case here, where you have opposite on front and adjacent to the right, we're going to want to do a Y2. So this one starts like one of the RAs. But from here you just slot instead. This case here with the opposite on the right and adjacent front. I'm going to use an inverse alg from the other set, so we're going to do a Y2. And now just slot like standard F-to-wall pair. So this case here, the only alg I could find is one of the cases I tried to avoid. I spent a long time trying to get rid of it, but by my standards of a long time, not very long, so I just learnt this case. So you're going to want to hold it from here, start with like a U-perm plus U2, and then this is where it changes a little bit. There are a lot of cases that have similar algs to that, which I try to avoid. Because of how similar they all were, it got confusing, and one of the reasons I forgot 4 years ago as fast as I did. And the very final case is this one here, where these two match instead. I just use the mirror alg for the mirror case. So from here, which is Nicholas, and then WB. And that is the very last case. Thank you for watching my ZBLL series. I hope it helped. If you are aiming to learn full ZB, then if this was a good resource, let me know. It is a little bit rushed and unplanned, but if you do have any questions, just comment and I will answer them. Thank you very much.